How's it, guys? Okay, so I'm out between the cattle and I'm making some content. Now, before I continue, my apologies. I don't have any shout outs for today. My routine is so messed up at the moment, and if I don't work according to a routine, things start falling by the wayside. So I don't have my book on me, but I do want to thank all the new subscribers. I see, despite the fact that I haven't been posting much lately, and I'll get to that now, despite the fact that I haven't been posting much, I still have new subscribers coming on every single day. And to you guys, I just want to say, first of all, welcome. Secondly, thank you very much for the support. I really appreciate it. And I'm just a small, humble channel that loves cattle. I have a passion for cattle, and I enjoy sharing my day-to-days with you guys, my thoughts, my convictions, my opinions, and sometimes my mistakes. So, what's going on in our country? Well, cattle farmers are facing, at this point in time, a fairly big challenge, because we've got foot and mouth disease in our country. And it's a problem in the sense that the powers that be don't seem to have an answer for it. Now, for those who don't know, foot and mouth, as its name implies, is a disease that affects cloven-hooved animals, and basically they develop sores between their clays on their hooves and on their lips and on their gums in their mouth. So it's a viral affliction or a viral disease that can cause economic loss. Now, we are fortunate in that the 3 strains that we get in South Africa are not lethal strains. And what I'm going to share here is basically just a regurgitation of what I've heard and read. I am by no means an expert on this disease. But we have 3 strains: SAT1, SAT2 and SAT3. That is SAT1, SAT2 and SAT3. And worst case scenario, if your animals have the disease for 3 to 5 days, they can't properly graze, they lose a bit of condition. But once again, as I've mentioned, we don't have the lethal strains in our country. Now, it is a notifiable disease, and the reason it's notifiable is not because it causes that much loss on farm, but because it affects our export status. Because it affects all cloven-hooved animals, the moment we have foot and mouth, we cannot export meat products, and that is pork, game, goats, lamb or beef. So it does affect, or can have, a far-reaching effect on our economy. Problem being, though, is that, once again, as I've mentioned, the powers that be don't seem to have an answer. And it's actually a fairly simple answer. It's actually fairly easy, and I'm saying easy in inverted commas, to manage, because all you need to do is to restrict movement of afflicted animals in affected areas. But those living here know that everything's going down the tubes. Our infrastructure, well, anything the government touches seems to be going down the tubes. Because in the past, when it was successfully managed, the police would be putting up roadblocks, preventing people from moving cattle out of affected areas, checking animals, checking permits. But as we speak, no such things are happening, because the police at this point in time is underpowered, undermanned, underfunded. They don't have vehicles, they don't have fuel. So it's a big glorious mess. And it might sound like I'm ranting, but I am a little frustrated, and I think so are many other farmers, because the implications are that if you have foot and mouth on your farm, you are placed under quarantine. Your animals get tested, you need to vaccinate, and then I think after 45 days, I think it is, you get tested for a second time. And if your herd then tests clear or clean of any active infections, you have another 45 days, and then only are you allowed to, is your farm opened up. And then at that point in time, from my understanding, you need to slaughter out all your animals. The problem is, the guys or the labs doing the testing are so far behind that guys or farmers are being stuck for months, by the sounds of it, with closed farms, and they can do nothing about it. They can't sell animals, they can't generate any income, and it's really hurting them. So yes, it's a nasty disease. Unfortunately, I don't see any short-term or quick-term solution with regards to this. What is interesting though, and I just need to mention this, last week there were reported 274 unresolved cases of foot and mouth. And our agricultural minister seems to have this idea that if you impose draconian measures on commercial farmers, that we might be able to curb the disease. The problem is, once again, we as cattle farmers, whether you're a commercial farmer, a stud farmer, or whether you're a communal farmer, if we don't all work together, then we're not going to resolve this issue. And if the measures are only aimed at a select few within the industry, being the farmers or the commercial farmers mostly, then all the other animals are allowed to run rampant, and we're not going to have any serious expectations of success. So it's a mess. The long and the short is, it's a mess. All right, but that's my rant over for now. I've just come to have a look at the cattle. I thought I'd give you guys an update, show you the body condition. The animals actually came through the winter very, very well. And I've kind of proven my own point. But before I do that, just quickly have a look at this. This is actually the main reason for today's video. I bought in 4 pregnant Ngoonies about 2 months ago. And we've received our first summer calf. A beautiful little Ngoonie heifer. Now, I actually made a video last Thursday, but the wind was so bad that the audio was unusable. And I really hate doing voiceovers. So I've got a video just after she gave birth, which I'll link in or overlay on this one. But just look at that beautiful little calf. She is now, she was born last Thursday, so what that make her, 6 days old? Yes, that's right, she's 6 days old. Beautiful little heifer. Just quickly on the cow, she will weigh about 320 kilos at a guess. No more than 340. By my calculations, she's about 31 months old. So she's fairly young. She calved at a fairly early age, and I'm aiming to calve my animals at around 27 months of age. But more importantly, she gave birth all by herself. And why do I mention this? I was between a group of farmers the other day, and I was actually listening to them and how they were talking about how many calves they need to pull, how many calving problems they have. And guys, that's actually unnatural. If you're having calving problems, you need to ask yourself a question. What are you doing wrong? Is it your selection? Is it your feeding? Is it the type of animal that you're breeding with? Because in nature, animals shouldn't have birthing problems. And if they do, well, nature sorts them out very quickly. They're the ones that don't survive. So from the time that she walked off from the herd to the time that she successfully pushed the calf out was less than 30 minutes. A little heifer, 340 kilos at most. I guess that calf was around 25 kilos at birth, give or take. That tends to be the breed average. And she did that perfectly without any issues or any hassles. Just look at this beautiful little heifer, and she tends to come to me. Just look at her. Hello, girl. Isn't she gorgeous? She's absolutely stunning. Now, of course, low maintenance animals tend to not be the type that the feedlots want. We've mentioned this before. But considering the foot and mouth that I discussed earlier, it might become, well, I'm hearing more farmers talking about raising their own offspring or their own weaners on the farm, finishing them off grass and marketing directly to the abattoir, because that's most certainly a way to kind of keep your farm safer. And that's one of the reasons I haven't been doing any content. There's an auction on today that I chose not to go to. There's 2 farmers I could have visited, and I chose not to go to them either, because this foot and mouth is running rampant. And the last thing I want is to visit a farmer, foot and mouth breaks out on his farm, and he suspects me of bringing it onto his property. Or the converse is also true. Coming back from a farmer and picking up foot and mouth in my own herd. So yeah, the safest is just to stay on your own property for now. Coming back to the cattle, I digress as always. The cattle are looking absolutely stunning. Guys, you know what? I always say we need to be open-minded. Don't be so fixed in your ways, or don't go bankrupt trying to prove yourself right. It's actually a saying I heard not too long ago, and I thought it was brilliant. So you know, I'm not a big supporter of licks or unnecessary licks and extra feeding, actually, rather than licks. I believe in licks, but I don't believe in feeding your cattle during the winter. If they can't survive off grass, then you're doing something wrong. However, and that included urea licks. Last season I didn't give them any urea licks, and I went on that course and I realized that I was wrong and I was making a mistake. So this year I gave them Premix 450. It's a Voermal lick. They don't consume very much. This whole herd will consume the equivalent of a 20 kilogram bucket over 2 days. And a 20 kilogram bucket weighs about 8 kilos, I think. I'll have to weigh, but it's not very heavy. So they don't consume a lot, but look at the condition of this cow. There's her little calf, the little red one on the left over there. She calved down in June. She's come through the winter, and you wouldn't say that she's suckling. And I'm just wondering now, I want to show you guys the other one, the other Thule cross, because she's absolutely amazing. Guys, keep in mind, these Thules they're now running at 12 years old. You can see the grass is starting to green up a little. This is really not good quality grass, and I actually mowed here with a slasher because I wanted to get all the dead material off, because it makes these grey patches and it starts oxidizing. So I wanted to get all the dead material off, and hopefully it'll green up a little bit sooner, and it seems to be working. But this is the other Thule cow, or Thule cross cow. Her heifer is now 10.5 months old, and I'll overlay a picture of her and the heifer that I took last week. But guys, once again, look at her condition. Look at the condition on this cow. Now, keep in mind they get a mineral lick and they get a urea lick. My calculations are they're taking at about 120 grams per head per day of the urea. It's not expensive, but they've maintained much better condition than they did last winter. And I'm happy with 120 grams. I can live with that. You know, we keep our animals in camps. In nature, they would be free to roam miles and miles or kilometers and kilometers looking for what they need. But we restrict them to small camps, and all they can eat is what is available. And for those saying I have a lot of grass, it's true. We were blessed with some good rains last year. But my overall carrying capacity of the farm, well, if I include the cattle, the horses, and all the game, I'm actually over my conventional carrying capacity. So, yeah, it seems to be working. As I said, this cow's 12 years old. 12 years old, 2.5-month-old calf. Yes, you can see a little bit of rib on her, not much, but there's nothing wrong with her condition. And coming to this one over here, this Thule cow must now be going for 17, excuse me, this Nguni cow must be going now 17, maybe 18 years old. Her calf was also not weaned. She weaned her herself, and she's pregnant again, and look at her condition. So yes, generally speaking, the animals are looking really good. The grass is greening up. We're excited. We had 10 mils of rain 2 days ago, so we're excited. There's a lot of moisture from last year. Bella's dropped a little bit in condition. She might have dropped 1 condition point, I think. And she's also still suckling her calf, but she's in a different stage of her lactation. The Thule calves are a little bit older, so the cows are producing less milk on that side, but I think she's still producing a little bit more milk because she's in a different stage of her lactation. At the same time, she's only due to calve around about December, January. So by that time, she will have picked up or regained her condition, and I think she's still adapting to our grasses. She comes from an area that's traditionally a bit more sweet felt, so she's still adapting to our grasses. While I'm looking at these animals, I believe in showing you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I've put my freeze branding video on hold because I've got some brands that came out brilliantly, and then you look at Bellas over here and some of them that didn't come out so well. Now, the animals are marked, so in theory, it was a successful exercise, but I didn't quite get the results I was looking for. It's a learning process. In principle, and the steps are fairly simple, it's easy to freeze brand, but I don't think that my ice management was very good. I don't think I replenished my ice on a regular basis. You look at Gog over here, you can see her markings are clearer. I don't want to get too close because she's become spicy now. She might even come for me. Hey, don't shake your head at me. So I'm going to try and zoom in quickly if she stands still. There we are. So some of the markings are more visible and are actually starting to grow the white hairs as they should, and some of them are not. Here's another one that's not too bad. But then there are markings that are totally or not as clear as they should be. Now, once again, the idea was to mark them because legally we're required to do so. So they're branded. The marks are visible. Excuse me. I just had a mosquito or something go down my throat. And that wasn't a nice thought, but in any case. So we're legally obligated to mark them, and we've done so. They can be identified. However, not all of them are showing the nice white hairs that was actually the end goal. This is the cow that should calve next, and she's running away from me because that's how it works when you're trying to record. And I expect she should calve down in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So yes, it's going well. Everything's good. The animals are looking fat for the most part, even the Simbras. I mean, my kids call this one Tren. I think there's some other steroid that the bodybuilders inject that's called Tren, but they call her Tren. She's probably the biggest, most masculine heifer that I have, and even her condition is good. Animals are looking good. It's going well, despite the powers that be and their failures in doing what they're supposed to do. We're surviving. Now guys, I don't know what the next couple of months are going to hold in for us. I know that my opportunities to create content and share things with you guys will be limited. I don't want to record my herd every single day. That'll become boring very quickly. But rest assured, the moment I feel that it's safe or that it's a good opportunity, I'll get out there and I'll go and see some farmers. I have a Afrikaner farmer on hold. There was an Afrikaner auction. I didn't go to that. I just want the dust to settle a little bit. Just quickly here, just want to show you guys. Here's one of the heifers that wasn't that successfully marked. You can see she's branded and you can make out the letters, but they should have grown out white, and I think I didn't replenish the ice as often as I should have. But okay, you know what? Tuition fees. Skoolgeld, as they say in Afrikaans. The next time we do it, we'll do better. Over there's one of the other Ngunis that I bought in. She's actually calmed down a bit. She was fairly spicy at one time, and she's starting to bag up nicely. Her vulva swelling on the back end. So she should also calf in the next probably 3 weeks. So it's going well. Now just quickly having a look at the grass that we have here. Something interesting. I was speaking to a mate of mine called Ati, and Ati, if you're listening, how's it? Hope you're doing well. He made the comment that the grass under the trees greened up first, and that the cows grazed the grass shortest underneath the trees. Now you guys recall I mentioned this in one of my winter videos, but I'm going to show you. Here's proof of that. This is next door. That's a small tree, so it doesn't have much of an effect yet. But you look at this big tree over here. All the grass has been grazed off short and the grass is all green. So I'm looking at the property with new eyes. I'm valuing the grasses that I have differently. A lot of these grasses, especially this that I have in front of us now, I wrote off as being useless. And I was actually contemplating dissing this area over and putting in something like Smutsvinger or Rhodes or something more suitable or of better quality. However, I've come to realize these are the grasses that green up first after the winter. And when there's nothing else, the cattle actually readily graze them. So I always say everything has a purpose. I didn't understand the purpose of these grasses, now I do. Because this time of the year, this is what greens up first. The cattle graze them. Later in the season, when the better grasses are green, they won't touch this. So it's actually about managing your grazing and the different types of grasses that you have. It's a learning curve. I don't know it all. I'm most certainly not as intelligent as I think I am. But as long as I learn something every year and I can apply it and improve for the years that follow, then we will progress. Just coming back here, I just want to show you guys, that's what happens when you undergraze or you don't graze at the right time. Look at all that. And now basically what happens there is that grass is oxidizing, nothing can grow. Eventually it makes a bare patch, and then your weeds or your cutpos come up. So better management will prevent that. And if I prevent that, then I'm going to get better grasses in the pastures, and the cattle will look even better. They will look even better. Just coming back to this heifer. I don't know if you guys can see it. The lighting is not of the best, but this animal is absolutely huge. Now I showed you guys the heifer that calved. She's about 340 kilos. Well, I reckon this heifer must be double her mass, easily. This heifer's, she's big, she's solid, but her condition is good. She's not quite the right type of animal for what we want to do, but if she calves down and she gives me a 2D cross calf or a Nguni cross calf, then the progeny will most certainly be an improvement on her in terms of what I want to achieve. So she's come up closer. So yeah, guys, that's a quick catch up. Animals, as I say, are looking really good. Here's old Ginger. She's that 17-year-old in Goonies. No, I'm lying. You see, that's what happens. I've got two heifers that look like this. The one's Ginger, and my kids called this one Gingivitis because they look like twins. So, but Ginger looks basically, she's the spitting image of this one. This is a Murray Grey Nguni cross that I got from Freddie Besselard, and she's doing absolutely stunning. I think these animals are going to do well. So it's going well. I'm waffling. Forgive me for that. It's been too long. I've forgotten how to make a decent recording. It's going well. The cattle are looking good. Our calving season for the animals that we bred should start around mid-November. But the animals that we bought in have already started calving. And even the Cimbras are looking really, really good. This Cimbra over here is already starting to develop a bit of an udder. And I think she'll probably be the first one to calve of the animals that we bred here. But we're excited. Can't wait. Got to look for the positive in life. Got to look for the silver linings. We can all easily become overly negative and despondent because of situations out of our control, and I'm once again referring to the foot and mouth. Or you can choose to be excited about things, the small things in life. New calves, cattle that are in good condition. Find a reason to be happy. That's very important. Look for a reason, find a reason to be happy. With social media and bad news and everyone always being negative, we need to find a reason to be positive. That's another one of the calves I bought in, once again doing really well. What I've noticed, and maybe if any of you are still watching for that matter, if you are, please let me know your thoughts. But what I've noticed is the animals that are black or have a black color tend to have way more flies on them than the lighter colored animals. I don't know if any of you have picked up on that between your cattle or know what the reason would be. There's Ginger on the opposite side over there. I don't know what the reason for that would be, but it's just something that I've picked up. The black colored animals have a lot more flies on them than the lighter colored animals. Or the darker animals have more flies than the lighter animals. If any of you know why, please share that with me. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's going well. Cattle are looking good. They're in a different camp. I still have lots of grazing. This is the time of the year when animals tend to lose their condition the most. You know, everyone looks at their grazing up until the end of July. August, September, October, those are the months of the killers. They're the ones that strip off your fat if you don't have enough grass. I'm just going to see if I can call her. Let's see if she comes. Of course, I've got the camera rolling, so she won't come today. But actually, I've been quite successful in calling her like that. She's now looking for a mother. Where is her mother? Oh, her mother's over there. All right, anyway, guys, I've waffled enough. Cattle are looking good, as I've said, for the 100th time. I don't want to get boring now. But pretty soon it's going to start draining calves. And we very, very excited. And of course, I'm hoping for a 60% calving rate, because I've got a lot of heifers that are exposed to the bull at a young age, 15, 16 months of age. I'm hoping for a 60% calving rate. If I achieve that, I'll be ecstatic. Anything better than that is just a bonus and a blessing. Anyway, guys, I hope you have a good one. I hope your animals stay safe. Keep in mind, you know, if you've got cattle, try not to move them about. Don't allow strange animals into your herd. If you're a communal farmer, keep an eye out on the guys moving cattle around. More often than not, the people don't know what they're doing, or they don't know about the disease. So keep your animals safe, keep yourself safe, and more importantly, keep your investment safe. Anyway, it's overcast. We might get some more rain, which would be quite nice. And I hope you guys have a really stunning, blessed week. We're going to chat again. Have a good one. Cheers.